Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Did It Work? My name's Nina, and today we're going to be making salmon, roasted potatoes, and broccolini. That's right, you heard me right. For the first time, I'm making an entire meal. Oh, did I say me? Not I, because guess what, guys? The young ones are here. I've got my youngest, Marco, and his fiance, Sierra. Look at that ring. They are here to help me cook. And so I am going to turn it over to them because they're going to start with the potatoes. Potatoes take the longest to cook. Go to the salmon, go to the broccolini, and then at the end, everything will finish all at once. And you're going to get to hear some stories from a child's viewpoint. They came all the way from Lawrence, Kansas for a reason, and that was just to shoot a video. All right, young ones, it's all up to you.
What up, y'all? This is the notorious youngest child, Marco, and my beautiful fiance, Sierra. And we're just starting the potatoes off, like my mom said. We're cutting them in half. I kind of just wanted to talk about how experienced I am with cutting potatoes after growing up with my mom, the excellent chef. Because, of course, she had to teach me all of her excellent tricks and skills in the kitchen while I was growing up. And that came usually in the form of helping out where she needed it. So I often peeled and sliced the potatoes.
Sierra, did you help your mom cook ever?
I definitely didn't help my mom cook as much as he helped you cook. My mom and I butt heads a lot in the kitchen, and it was mostly my fault. I'll be honest with you. I was pretty annoying in the kitchen growing up. So I really just did the dishes at the end of the day. But now that Marco's cooking more, he's kind of just given me the jobs that he used to have when he was like 7 or 8, because I don't know what I'm doing.
I've graduated from the potato peeling and cutting.
So, from what I understand now, Marco is the cook. I'm not a chef, I'm a cook, but thank you so much for that compliment. And you pretty much are on cleanup duty.
Basically, the kitchen is my job. I clean the kitchen after he cooks. And he has followed in your footsteps, I'll be quite honest with you. If the kitchen is not clean, he will not cook.
Oh, that is wonderful, considering the fact that I could, 1, never get him to clean, and 2, never get him to cook. So I don't know what ever happened with that. Why did you become such a good cook? What happened?
Necessity.
Yeah, he was on his own.
Necessity, yes. Being, I think, probably for the same reasons that you learned how to cook so well. I just didn't have the money to go out, and I had to harness all of the skills that I learned from you growing up.
His cooking got in me, so.
So are you telling me that the way to your heart was also through your stomach? So it's not
absolutely.
just a man thing?
Oh, yeah. I would come over after work, and he would have dinner ready for himself, and I would be like, oh, that smells really good. And he would be like, oh, do you want some? And then he'd make me a plate, and then I just kept coming back.
And now he got himself a fiance. Look at that.
Hey, all thanks to Mom, huh?
Okay.
Credit where credit is due.
I have to step in for this.
Oh, no.
How is it that you're 24 and managed to catch yourself a partner? And I am, we're still not telling that, and can cook and still can't. What's happening? Oh, it must be me. Yeah.
You're finished.
Okay. Well, thank you, young ones, for doing the potatoes. So after we do these potatoes, we pretty much just want to rinse these off. As you're cutting the potatoes, I don't know, you did notice they were looking at them, because if you come across bad potatoes, you want to take them out. And Marco did come across the bad potato at the last cut and did not put that in there. So once we get these cleaned off, now I am doing mine in a cast iron because we all know I love my cast iron. Turn the fire on high, and I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to melt the 2 tablespoons of butter in the pan over here. So I'm just going to just put these guys on blast. All right, what is going on?
I pushed my cuticle back into my fingernail and it hurt really bad. And I was trying not to yell about it.
So anyways, back to the show. So I'm going to let this butter melt. And in the meantime, Sierra.
Yes, ma'am.
If you could give me the seasonings as I call them out, I am going to put the stopper in the sink, and the sink is clean. And I'm going to put the potatoes in here to season them, okay? And so, can I have the salt? I'm just going to put just some salt on here. If you aren't supposed to be having salt, don't put a lot of salt on there. We're seasoning these to taste. Pepper, please. I love having sous chefs up in here because normally I'm just doing this myself. And we're going to season this as well, as much as you believe we actually need. And have the Italian seasoning, please. And, oops, this does not have a spout on it, so I'm going to make sure I don't put too much in there. And then I'm going to mix this up with my hands. I do them in the sink because I find that the sink makes it the easiest to season. Now, I'm going to tell you, I did not figure that out on my own. A friend of mine back home in Kansas City, her name is Kathy, taught me that when one day we were cooking a meal together and she seasoned the potatoes in the sink. And I thought, that is a great idea. I'd never done it before. So thank you, Kathy, for showing me that.
I am learning new things in the middle of filming this show.
Well, you're supposed to. Now that I have this seasoned, I'm just going to take this to my stove top, and I'm just going to pour them in here. There we go. You can tell it's hot because it's sizzling. We'll put them in there. Oops, runaway potato. Okay, so once I get them in there, you can tell the pan was hot because it is sizzling. I'm just going to put it in the oven. Turn my burner off. So now we're going to move on to the salmon, and Marco is going to take lead on the salmon.
That's me.
Oh, hi, Marco. I do a very simple preparation on my salmon, okay? So the very first thing that I do is turn my pan on. On high, you gotta let it light first, okay? Let's switch places again, sous chef. Okay, this is gonna be great. So once we turn that on high, there is two tablespoons of butter that needs to go in that pan. You see the 2 tablespoons. Since this is such an easy prep, while the pan is heating up, he's got to go ahead and season this.
I am.
It is just lemon pepper.
This is lemon pepper.
And he had to repeat that. And we're just going to season it generously. Awkwardly. And we're going to put a generous amount of seasoning on here. And I will show you how it is as soon as he's done and goes to the next one. Then I'm going to flip it so his hands don't have to get dirty. That way I don't have to be washing spice bottles. And we're going to season the back side.
If you need a hype man, hit me up.
Yeah. All right. And get that other one seasoned. So I'm going to show you about how much seasoning we have on there. I don't want to move the camera, so I'm going to take the salmon to you. See, it's nice, and you can see that yellow on there. Now, for those that are just like, I like to use fresh ingredients. That is great. If you like to use fresh ingredients, use the pepper and then put the fresh lemon juice on it afterwards. I just do it this way because then I don't have to add salt, because the lemon pepper has salt and other seasonings in it already. So this is just an easy meal for me, especially when I'm cooking with kids and stuff. This is done, okay? So now that this is done, I'm going to take a piece, and I'm going to have Marco take a piece, and we're going to put it in the pan, skin side down, because I actually have salmon with skin on it, okay? So over to the oven, and we're putting it in here.
Down in the butter.
All right. Hear that sizzle a little bit because it is a little bit hot. And I am actually going to give you a different view, so I'll be right back. So you can see this is sizzling, and I'm going to let it cook on here for about another 3 to 4 minutes, and then I'm going to stick it in the oven. And
you know where I wish I was sizzling?
Where?
At the pool.
Oh, yes, at the pool. We should be getting a tan. As you can clearly see, I have got a swimsuit on under here because we were going to the pool. Why didn't we go to the pool?
Kids. Too many dang kids.
There were a bunch of kids. We can see the pool from, look, I'm looking at the pool now. There are still people in that pool right now, and it is like 8 o'clock at night, okay? But we went out there, and there was like 5 kids in the pool, not to mention the ones that weren't in the water yet. So we were like, yeah, maybe not. So I got dressed for the swimming pool, and instead we decided to shoot a video. So after about 2-3 minutes before it's time to eat, I am actually going to turn the broiler on and put this in the broiler so the top of it can get nice and brown. And it looks beautiful. So it has been about 3 minutes in total from the time that we put this on here. I moved the camera, had my spiel, talked about the pool and the tan we did not get, and why I'm dressed a little funky. But hey, I got a swimsuit on, so you know, it is what it is. And look, he got palm trees.
I'm Hawaiian shirted up.
We were all ready.
I was ready.
We were ready, but it didn't happen. It will happen. We got what, 5 days?
And I have more Hawaiian shirts.
5 days and more Hawaiian shirts. So anyway, let's get this in the oven before we go all off sideways and start with the broccolini. And I think Sierra's got a tag team in, right? Is she got a tag team in? Okay, back up. Oven's opening. All right, let's put this in the oven with the potatoes and turn this off. And then we're going to move back over and start getting the broccolini prepped. Okay, so I am here with my daughter-in-law, Sierra, and we're going to prepare the broccolini, okay? And I'm going to walk her through it since she said she's not the cook, so I'm going to walk her through it. So we've got 2 bundles of the broccolini. And the first thing that we're going to do, because this is a personal choice of me, and as I've always told you, everything that you do is pretty much going to be personal choices, is I want her to take these, group them together, kind of get all the stems at the end to be even at the bottom. So do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I want you to take your knife and go about halfway up the stem and cut it. That is for me because that's what I like to do. And I'm going to put them up here because I'm going to throw those away. Leaves, I'm going to put up here in my trash pile. And then I'm going to look at them. And this is bite size. So I'm going to put it in my colander that's in the sink. And this is not bite size. See that? It's huge. So I'm going to pull it apart and make bite size. And then I'm at it, I'm going to pull the leaves off as well. Here, again, not bite size, but this is big. So I'm going to just take my knife, cut it down the middle, and I made 2 more bite size little bites. So we're going to make some forest out of some trees is what we're doing here. And we're going to go through this whole thing and do that and put it in the colander. I don't know why I'm having troubles with this word. And we're going to do this. So, have you watched what you've seen of California?
I've really liked it. It is a lot warmer than Kansas.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's a lot warmer than Kansas, and I don't know, it's gorgeous out here. I mean, the mountains are incredible.
They are good.
The view from the window just in where we're staying at is incredible.
She's talking about the view from my balcony. You see all of the mountains, and I also have a perfect view of the pool, which is why we didn't go swimming because we saw all the people out there. So it's perfect. So we have this in here. So I'm going to go ahead and start rinsing this off. And then after that, we're going to season these. I do a very simple seasoning on these as well. Everything that I do as a personal cook when I cooked for my kids was a very, very simple seasoning. I didn't do anything extravagant, but I seasoned it well enough that it tasted like it was extravagant. Marco, when you ate the food that I cooked growing up as a kid, did you know it was simple seasoned, or did you think it had more to it? What was your take on that?
Being a child, it was just kind of like magic. Like, there was just good food that showed up on the table. I didn't know how you did it, what the process was, but I know I really, really enjoyed eating it. And I've really enjoyed learning that it's not the hardest thing for me to actually do, because it's, simple seasonings, just like you said.
It is.
It seemed like magic when I was younger, but now I can put it all together myself.
Now that you know how to do it, you're like,
mind blown.
Mind blown. Right. All right, so let's go ahead and season that. Thank you, Marco. So, Sierra, if you could get me the garlic salt, I would appreciate it. Again, this is site seasoning. I don't have measurements because I just decided we would film since we weren't going swimming, and I did not take the time to get the measurements. So I am seasoning to sight. Got my garlic salt in there, and I'm tossing it around. Can I have the pepper, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I am not putting salt in here because I used garlic salt, so I'm not going to put salt in here. And I got my pepper, and I'm going to grind it. Sierra, if you could please turn that burner on, I would appreciate it. Turn it all the way to high, and then there you go, and turn it off so it stops clicking. Wonderful. And throw that butter in there if you would, please. Throw that butter in there.
There we go.
Okay, and we're going to let that do what it does. And tossing this, I'm going to put this in the bowl, and eventually I'm going to go to the pan. So the other thing that I do is I'm going to steam this broccolini. So I have my butter in there. Okay, so we're over here at the stovetop. We have the butter here. You can hear that it's a little bit hot right there. But I'm actually going to steam this. The butter was for flavor. So what I'm going to take is one of my little, what is this? Holder container things that I put my vegetables, Lord have mercy, that I put my seasoning in, and I'm going to put water in here. And I'm going to pour it in here. Be careful, it's got to pop. I'm going to put that in there because I'm going to steam this broccolini. And then I'm going to place the broccolini in here that has been seasoned because, well, you saw me season it. That's why it's been seasoned. You saw me season it. And by the time this cooks, the salmon cooks, and the potato cooks, this will all be done at one time. Got that all in there. Got that little bit of water in there. And the lid, voila! Wow! The lid, I have to point this out. You notice she used a pot holder for lid that was sitting on the counter and had never touched heat. But safety always first.
The pot holder was sitting on top of the lid already. I wasn't going to risk it and remove the pot holder and burn my hand. Why would I do that?
Yes, because the heat might have jumped to the lid.
Why?
Oh my goodness. You just don't understand when I say Sierra and Marco are a perfect match. Yes. Oh my gosh. Why we're doing this? This is why Sierra and Marco are a perfect match. She had a pot holder on a pan that had never touched heat, just in case. So she wouldn't get burned. Let me tell you a quick story while this is doing this. This is going to make what she did look real good. So, as soon as I start this story, Marco's going to run over here and try to defend himself. But I don't know if you've heard this story yet.
I probably haven't.
Marco needed to wash his comforter. And I told him, when you dry it with tennis balls. And I got home from work, and Marco comes to me, and he says, the tennis balls have been on the comforter all day, and it's still wet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? As I go into Marco's room, the comforter is laying on the floor with 2 tennis balls sitting on top of it. For some reason, he thought it was going to dry.
To be fair, there was only a spill of water on it. I spilled water on the comforter, and I thought that you had to dry it with tennis balls.
Yeah. See? Perfect match. We'll be back as soon as the broccolini and the salmon and the potatoes are done. You never heard that story? No! Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes since I put the broccolini on, and I'm gonna let it cook a little bit more. As you can see, it is a nice, deep, dark green right now, which is wonderful. We want that. But I'm gonna check to see what my salmon's like right now. I'm gonna go ahead and take my salmon out. It has a nice color on it. And about the time we're ready to eat, I'm gonna throw it in the broiler to get some color on it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm gonna take one of my spoons and I'm just gonna take some of the fat and spoon it over the top of the salmon. I do that so that I can get the flavor of that butter on the top of it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and check the potatoes. Ooh, ooh, ooh! Look at that. Nice little color on some of those. I don't know if you saw it, but that's heavy and I'm not gonna keep holding it. I'm gonna get a fork and I'm gonna see. Stick a fork in it because it's done. That is done. I am going to just take a wooden spoon, my hot pad, and I'm just going to kind of stir these around just a little bit. They are officially done, which means I am now going to turn my oven to high broil, and I'm going to stick my salmon in the broiler because I want it to get a little bit of color on it. So got that done. Back to giving these potatoes a little bit of a toss. And I have some Parmesan cheese right here. And I am going to take some Parmesan cheese and I'm going to sprinkle these. As much cheese as you want. I'm a cheese lover. I'm putting some cheese up on this mug, okay? And then I'm going to give it another toss just to get that cheese incorporated in there. And it's just going to stay on top of the oven because these are hot. And I'm now going to check my broccolini. My broccolini should be about done. Again, stick a fork in it and it's done. I'm going to turn the fire out from under that. I'm going to meet you at the tasting table. Okay, we are now at the tasting table, and I'm not alone. I've got the young ones with me. So this is the plate that we have. We've got the broccolini, the potatoes, and the salmon. And we're going to taste one by one, and they're going to give you their opinion of mom's cooking. Let's start with the salmon, and we're going to start with Marco. Yes. And see what he thinks.
The salmon, I think you could almost describe it as blackened with seasoning. And it has just the perfect crisp to the outside before you go into the chewy and fall right apart in your mouth inside.
The flakiness of this is absolutely wonderful. It has a moistness to it. This is a wild salmon. It's a very simple seasoning, so you're actually really tasting the taste of the wild salmon. Yeah. You have that hint of the lemon, the pepper, but the salmon flavor really comes through.
That lemon just really enhances the savory taste of the fish.
I am the type of person that doesn't like to eat the skin. and I haven't eaten the skin, and there's still that like crispiness on the top because it was put in the broiler toward the very end, and it just does so much for the salmon. It's so good.
To the broccolini because I don't know why I thought I was moving to the potato, but for some reason the broccolini started saying, eat me, so I'm eating it.
Oh.
Oh, what was that? Was that a good O or a bad O?
It was a good
The butter complements the seasoning and the broccoli so well.
This is again simple seasoning. This was only seasoned with pepper, garlic, salt, and butter. A very downplayed palate with the actual food coming through. It's nice, it's soft. Depending on how you like it, some people like their broccoli with a little bit of crunch. You cook it a little bit less. I cooked it a little bit more. No reason, just because I just cooked it until the rest of my food was done. But the flavor, all of this stuff. Eventually, we're going to eat a combination of bites, but right now we're going one by one. Sierra.
The broccoli, it's, if you're the kind of person that doesn't like salt as much, maybe put a little less garlic salt in it, because it does, like, the broccolini really does take in that salt and it holds it. But if you like that, it's incredible.
We've already had the conversation of how I oversalt. And luckily, Lexi isn't at this table to tell me, Mom, are you trying to kill me? So luckily, I don't have her. Are we ready to move to potatoes?
Absolutely.
That potato's good. It's got a listen. It's got a crispy outside. The Parmesan isn't too heavy. Like it adds a nice like hint of cheese flavor, but it definitely doesn't overpower the potatoes or the seasoning. I really enjoy the salt, and the Italian that's in there really brings out like another layer of flavoring to the potatoes. It was a good idea to roast them with salmon.
I love roasted potatoes. We used, as you saw, baby potatoes, and we used the tricolored potatoes. That just looks pretty. I don't know what it does for taste. It looks pretty, okay? But the Parmesan at the end adds this almost a rustic, would you call it, taste to it that just gives it another flavor profile. With this, we have the lemon with the salmon that you could very easily have just used fresh lemon with it. I don't have a fresh lemon in my refrigerator, so I wasn't buying one for this, but you could use it with it. The garlic that's coming from the broccolini, and then the Italian cheese flavor that's coming from the potato. This is a compliment. This is a compliment waiting to happen right here.
Yes.
Look, and with all three of us having a hand in it, good job, young ones.
Round of applause, everybody.
Sierra?
The potatoes, I don't know if I can say anything that everybody else hasn't already said. The Parmesan gives it another flavor. It's separated from both of the other sections of the dish, so it doesn't taste the exact same, but it feels cohesive, and it's a different place, but it still meshes so well with everything else on the plate, and it just tastes so good.
The mesh is so real that she's talking about. Since we've gone through each of the ingredients, I'm now loading each of my bites.
He didn't have to be prompted.
With a bite of each, because the flavors just complement each other so well, and the protein with the potatoes and the vegetables just it hits all together.
So this meal and this video was special to me because this is what Marco grew up eating. This is how Marco grew up eating. It wasn't any extravagant things. I couldn't afford to necessarily do a lot of the fresh lemon and fresh garlic and stuff because I didn't have that. The vegetables, I always did try to do fresh vegetables for the kids. Now, when he was a child, it would not have been broccolini. It would have just been broccoli, but it still would have been fresh broccoli because I did try to give my kids as much nutrition and freshness as possible. I couldn't afford broccolini. Broccolini is my luxury right now, but this is the type of meal they would have had. They would not have had the new potatoes, tricolored. It would have been a rustic iota. What's an iota? It would have been an iota potato that I cut up in quarters, that Marco cut up in quarters, and I would have still have roasted them. But that's what I can afford was a 10-pound bag of potatoes that we would have went through. But the nature of how I cooked it is very true from Marco's childhood.
Yes.
So I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, hit like, share, and celebrate food as a family, because to this day, it is food that brings this family together. So as I always say, cook with your soul, love with your heart. Until next time. This is Did It Work? And I should ask, because we never have asked this question yet. Young ones, did it work?
It always works.
It always works.
It worked. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and the simplicity is exactly what it was. It was simple.
When in
Again,
doubt, meat, grain, vegetable.
say it again, my nice signature. Cook with your soul, love with your heart. My name's Nina.
My name is Marco.
I'm Sierra.